In one, listen closely. There are moments in life when a message doesn't feel random or accidental or conveniently timed. It feels sent. It feels like something brushed against your spirit before your mind ever caught up. And if you're hearing these words right now, it's because heaven has quietly guided you to the very place where a truth you've carried for years is finally ready to speak. Being different was preparation, not rejection. For so long, you've walked through life with a strange mixture of clarity and confusion. You could sense things others ignored. You felt storms long before they arrived. You saw undercurrents in people, their intentions, their shadows, their unspoken wounds. And instead of being understood, you were labeled too sensitive, too intense, too quiet, too deep. You were always the one standing slightly outside the circle, watching, feeling, discerning, wondering why your spirit never blended into the spaces you were placed in. Chosen one, you weren't being pushed out, you were being set apart. Your isolation wasn't punishment, it was training. Your silence wasn't emptiness, it was alignment. And that ache you carried, that lifelong sense of, I don't belong here, was never a flaw in your design. It was a signal from the higher realms, whispering that your path would never match the patterns of the world around you. While others were busy fitting in, you were being prepared to stand out, not by force, but by destiny. And chosen one, before we go deeper, pause for a moment, hit subscribe, and comment, I received this, if your spirit is already responding. Because this message is not just content, it's a confirmation your soul has been waiting for. You see, there is a reason your heart never settled for average. A reason you felt disconnected from environments that drained your light. A reason you sensed betrayal before it happened and outgrew people without an explanation. You weren't meant to blend into the noise of the crowd. You weren't meant to follow the path everyone else follows. Your difference was not an error. It was evidence of a calling the world wasn't ready to recognize. Every season of loneliness, every unanswered question, every moment you walked alone, it was the universe shaping your identity in secret. It was God preparing the outsider to become the one who carries insight, clarity, and spiritual weight. You were hidden on purpose so that you could rise on time. And as this message unfolds, chosen one, a truth long buried beneath your pain is about to surface. A revelation meant only for those who were marked, separated, and misunderstood. You never fit in because you were never meant to. And now, the reason is finally ready to be revealed. Chosen one, let's go deeper into this truth, slowly, gently, and with the same reverence your journey deserves. Because when we talk about isolation, we're not talking about a phase. We're talking about a spiritual shaping, a season crafted with intention, precision, and a kind of divine strategy that only makes sense when you look back. Have you ever wondered why your path never looked like everyone else's? Why you felt different even in a crowded room? Why your heart sensed things long before your mind understood them? That is where this story begins. Your isolation was not life forgetting you. It was heaven preparing you. You didn't walk alone because something was wrong with you. You walked alone because something powerful was growing within you. From a young age, you could feel the emotional shifts in a room before anyone said a word. You could detect truth, hidden motives, silent pain. While others rushed through life with noise and distraction, you carried an inner stillness that made people uncomfortable because they couldn't hide who they were around you. That depth placed you at the edges of many spaces, not because you didn't belong, but because your spirit was too awake for places built on superficial connections. Chosen one, do you realize how rare that is? How extraordinary it is to feel so deeply, see so clearly, and sense so intuitively. These are not traits of someone ordinary. These are signs of someone spiritually marked. But gifts like these require isolation. Heaven had to pull you away from the loudness of the world so your inner hearing could sharpen. Your soul wasn't meant to be shaped by crowds. It was shaped by silence, solitude, and sacred observation. The moments you thought were empty were actually opportunities to learn the language of energy, discernment, and spiritual truth. Think about how many times you felt disconnected from people who were supposed to feel close. You tried to fit into their rhythm, their mindset, their world, but it always felt foreign, like wearing a costume that didn't quite belong to your skin. That discomfort wasn't failure, chosen one. It was protection. You were being kept from being molded by environments that couldn't hold your purpose. Every friendship that faded, every group that didn't accept you, every space where you couldn't breathe. It wasn't rejection, it was divine intervention. Heaven was saying, not here, not them, not yet. In Chosen One, I want you to ask yourself something with honesty. How many times did isolation push you into self-growth you wouldn't have chosen if you had been surrounded by people? How many of your greatest awakenings came from seasons where you felt alone, misunderstood, or unseen? Those were not accidents. They were assignments. You were being taught how to trust your inner voice, how to stand firm in your truth, how to build strength that doesn't rely on validation. Your isolation was a sacred classroom, one that shaped your wisdom, deepened your compassion, strengthened your intuition, and awakened your calling. You weren't excluded, you were preserved. Preserved from imitation, preserved from corruption, preserved from distractions that would have crippled your destiny. You were being hidden, chosen one, but only so you could rise in the right moment with clarity, confidence, and spiritual power. So breathe into this truth. You didn't walk alone because you were forgotten. You walked alone because you were being formed. And now your spirit is ready to step into the world with everything that solitude taught you. Chosen one, take a slow breath because this part of your journey deserves to be felt, not rushed. The gift of your difference is one of the most misunderstood aspects of your destiny. For years, you may have looked at yourself and wondered why you couldn't think like others, feel like others, or live like others. But what if the very things you questioned were the clearest signs of your calling? What if the traits that made you stand out were actually spiritual fingerprints, placed upon you long before you even understood your purpose? You see, chosen one, your difference is not random. It is deliberate. You were crafted with a level of depth that most people never access in a lifetime. You think in layers, you feel in colors, you absorb the atmosphere of a room the way others absorb simple words. You don't just hear what someone says, you sense what they mean. You don't just notice details, you perceive the whole story behind them. Have you ever wondered why your spirit picks up on energy shifts that others are blind to? Why your intuition speaks louder than logic sometimes? That is the divine signature embedded into your soul. But here's the part most people never told you. Gifts like these are not meant to blend in. They are meant to distinguish you. You were created to stand out, to walk a path that doesn't mimic the world, to embody a kind of inner wisdom that cannot be taught by humans, only awakened through experience. That quiet way you observe before you speak, that natural ability to love deeply and sincerely, that instinctive pull toward truth, even when it's uncomfortable. All of these qualities are indicators of spiritual assignment, and maybe people misunderstood you. Maybe they called you too sensitive, too intense, too emotional, or too different. But chosen one, what if those criticisms were simply reflections of their limited capacity to understand the vastness of your spirit? What if the world wasn't rejecting you? It was revealing who wasn't meant to walk with you. Let me ask you something. How many times did your uniqueness make you feel isolated when in reality it was setting you apart for something greater? How many times did you shrink yourself thinking you were the problem when you were actually the solution in disguise? Your uniqueness has always been your advantage, even in the moments when it felt like a burden. The deeper you feel, the more compassion you carry. The more you observe, the wiser you become. The more you sense, the more aligned you stay. Your difference protects your purpose. It keeps you from environments that can't handle your light. It guides you away from relationships that can't honor your depth. It shields you from paths that are too small for your calling. You don't fit into the crowd because your spirit wasn't designed for crowded places. You were made for divine spaces, elevated assignments, and uncommon journeys. So chosen one, instead of questioning your difference, embrace it, celebrate it, lean into it. Because what others mocked or misunderstood will one day become the very reason you rise. Your uniqueness is not an accident. It is not a flaw. It is not something you need to fix, hide, or apologize for. It is your spiritual advantage, the evidence that you are marked, guided, and destined for something that not everyone is meant to understand. Hold your head high, chosen one. Your difference is your power, and the world will soon see what heaven has always known about you. Chosen one. Let your spirit settle for a moment, because this part of your journey carries both tenderness and revelation. Finding your true tribe is not just about meeting new people. It's about stepping into the season where your soul finally becomes surrounded by those who can hold it. For so long, you walked through life feeling like the outsider, the observer, the one who cared too much or felt too deeply. And maybe you asked yourself, why don't I fit anywhere? Why do people misunderstand me? Why do I always end up walking alone? But chosen one, those questions were not signs of defect. They were signs of destiny. You were never meant to stay in environments that rejected your spirit. Your depth was always too much for shallow connections. Your honesty was too bright for people who had grown comfortable in their shadows. Your love was too pure for hearts still healing from their own wounds. And because of that, life had to remove you from certain places. You weren't being abandoned. You were being relocated. Heaven was rerouting your path away from people who couldn't see your worth, toward those who would recognize your soul the moment you walked in. Think about it. How many times were you surrounded by people but still felt unseen? How many conversations left you emptier instead of fuller? How many connections seemed promising at first, only to collapse because your spirit grew while theirs stayed still? Those moments weren't failures. They were spiritual confirmations that you were outgrowing the wrong tribe. You had to learn what misalignment felt like so that when alignment arrived, you would know it instantly. And chosen one, this is the truth so many forget. Your real tribe exists. The people who will understand your silences as clearly as your words. The ones who won't see your sensitivity as weakness, but as a superpower. The ones who can match the frequency you've had to suppress around others. These souls are not random. They are divinely assigned. And right now, even if you can't see it yet, your paths are quietly moving toward each other. But before heaven could bring them in, you had to walk alone. Why? Because solitude teaches you discernment. It sharpens your instincts. It awakens the part of you that can sense whether someone's presence is nourishing or draining. Without the season of walking alone, you would have mistaken familiarity for alignment. You would have settled for company instead of connection. You would have tolerated energy that diluted your spirit instead of elevating it. Chosen one, your true tribe will feel different. They won't compete with your light. They will reflect it. They won't fear your growth. They will encourage it. They won't drain your energy. They will restore it. They won't misunderstand your calling. They will recognize it, support it, and help protect it. Around them, you will not shrink. You will expand. You will breathe deeply. You will feel safe enough to be your full self, not the filtered version you showed the world just to survive. Let me ask you something. Can you feel even now that your spirit is preparing for new connections? Can you sense that the old versions of you have already walked away from places that can't follow you into your next chapter? That is the pull of alignment. That is the path of destiny unfolding. And chosen one, when you finally meet your true tribe, those rare souls who resonate with your frequency, you will understand why nothing else ever worked. You will understand why you couldn't stay where your spirit felt small. You will understand why your heart refused to settle. You weren't meant for the crowd. You were meant for the few who see your soul. Your tribe is coming, and this time, chosen one, you will be seen, valued, and deeply understood. Chosen one, this part of your journey carries a sacred weight because separation as protection is one of the most misunderstood truths of your spiritual path. It's the kind of truth that only becomes clear once you've lived through the storms, once you've survived the heartbreaks, once you've stood in the ruins of something you thought would last forever. And maybe even now, a part of you still wonders why certain people slipped away, why certain friendships collapsed, why certain chapters ended without warning. But chosen one, what if every separation you experienced was not destruction, but deliverance? Let's move slowly through this, because your heart deserves clarity, not confusion. Every time you were pulled away, distanced, or disconnected, It was not because you were unworthy. It was because your spirit was being preserved. There were people whose presence seemed comforting at first, but beneath their smiles were intentions, habits, or energies that would have harmed your calling. There were environments that looked harmless, but if you had stayed, your growth would have suffocated, your gifts would have dimmed, your soul would have shrunk. So heaven stepped in, your angels stepped in, destiny stepped in, and they removed you long before the damage could reach you. Have you ever noticed how certain connections ended right before something in your life shifted? Have you ever looked back and thought, if I had stayed there, I would have lost myself. I would have never become who I am now. That realization is not accidental. That is revelation. What you called abandonment was actually guidance. What you called rejection was divine rerouting. You were being redirected, chosen one, not because you weren't enough, but because you were too valuable to be placed where your light would be dimmed. There were times when the separation felt harsh, sudden, even painful. Times when it felt like your heart was being torn away from something familiar. But chosen one, sometimes heaven will let your heart break to keep your soul safe. Sometimes the universe will end a chapter before you're ready, because staying would have cost you too much. You didn't see what was happening behind the scenes, the conversations you weren't meant to hear, the intentions you weren't meant to witness, the betrayals being formed in silence. While you were loving with purity, some were planning with ego. And so heaven intervened. Let me ask you something with honesty. How many times did you cling to someone, thinking they were your safe space, only to later realize they were slowly draining your spirit? How many times did you pray for a connection to stay, only to later thank God that it fell apart? These are the moments that reveal the deeper truth. Separation wasn't loss, it was spiritual rescue. Your angels cut ties you didn't have the strength to cut. They removed people you would have forgiven again and again, even as they slowly broke you. They closed doors you would have kept open out of loyalty, hope, or fear. They moved you away from places that couldn't hold your calling. You weren't being deserted, chosen one. You were being guarded. This is the part that brings peace. The separations you experienced weren't random fragments of chaos. They were pieces of a divine strategy. They pushed you toward alignment. They freed you for expansion. They protected the destiny that was growing inside you. And every time you cried over what you lost, heaven whispered, if only you knew what we just saved you from. Chosen one, breathe into this truth. You were never being punished. You were being protected. And soon you will understand why every disconnection was necessary for your elevation. Chosen one, this is the moment where everything in your journey begins to make sense. When your spirit transitions from confusion to clarity, from wandering to direction, from searching to knowing, that is alignment. And alignment isn't loud. It doesn't shout. It doesn't force itself into your life. It appears softly, quietly, almost tenderly, like dawn breaking after a long night. Have you felt that shift lately? Have you noticed certain things falling away while new things pull you forward? That is not coincidence. That is calling. When chosen ones begin aligning with their true path, the change is unmistakable. It starts with a whisper inside your spirit, a subtle but undeniable knowing that something is shifting. You begin to crave peace more than validation. You start letting go of habits, relationships, and environments that once felt comfortable but no longer feel right. Not because anyone told you to, but because your soul outgrew what your mind still tried to hold on to. This quiet internal transformation is the first sign that heaven is guiding your steps. And then comes the clarity, chosen one. Not the kind that arrives all at once, but the kind that unfolds day by day, like a map slowly revealing itself. You wake up with a different sense of purpose. You're more aware of your intuition. That inner voice that once felt soft now speaks with authority. You begin to trust your instincts without needing external validation. Have you felt that strengthening? That inner confidence that says, this is the direction, keep moving? That chosen one is alignment at work. As you align, old habits begin losing their grip. The things that once distracted you no longer pull at your energy. The emotional patterns that once repeated themselves suddenly stop. Toxic connections start drifting away, even without confrontation. People who were never meant to stay simply fade out, making space for those who are meant to walk with you. And though these shifts may feel strange or even lonely at times, your spirit recognizes the truth. You are being elevated, not abandoned. One of the most profound signs of alignment is synchronicity. Repeated numbers appear. 111, 222, 444. Not as decoration, but as divine reminders that you're on track. Dreams become vivid, meaningful, symbolic. Conversations happen at just the right moment. Opportunities align in ways you couldn't have planned. Have you started noticing these gentle winks from the universe? These aren't random. These are confirmations that heaven is saying, keep going. You're moving exactly as you should. And perhaps the most beautiful shift, chosen one, is this. You no longer chase, you attract. You don't beg for clarity, clarity arrives. You don't demand answers, answers reveal themselves. You no longer shrink yourself to fit into small spaces. You rise into the fullness of who you are. Alignment transforms the world from a battlefield into a map, and every step you take feels guided, intentional, and divinely timed. Let me ask you something from the depth of your spirit. Can you sense that you're not who you used to be? Can you feel that a deeper, wiser, more aligned version of you is emerging? That feeling, that subtle awakening, is your soul recognizing home. Alignment feels like coming back to yourself after years of searching outside. It feels like breathing without heaviness, seeing without confusion, moving without fear. It feels like stepping into a current that was always meant to carry you. And once you start experiencing it, chosen one, you realize that nothing was ever random. Every lesson, every loss, every separation was guiding you toward this moment of truth. You are aligning fully, clearly, beautifully with the path destined for you, and your spirit knows it. Chosen one. This final part of your journey is where everything comes together. Your identity, the real you, the soul beneath the scars, beneath the masks, beneath the survival mode, has been unfolding slowly, deliberately, like a sacred revelation. You were never meant to discover yourself in an instant. You were meant to evolve into your truth, piece by piece, season by season, moment by moment. And maybe you can feel it now. Something in you awakening, strengthening, remembering. That feeling is not imagination. It is identity rising. Your spirit unfolds in layers, chosen one, because powerful souls are not created quickly. They are carved, sculpted, refined by experiences that seem random but were deeply intentional. Every challenge you survived didn't just test you, it revealed a piece of you that had been hidden. Every heartbreak didn't just hurt you, it awakened a deeper level of compassion, resilience, and spiritual insight. Every season of isolation didn't just separate you, it carved wisdom into your soul that most people never develop in a lifetime. Let me ask you something gently. Can you sense that you're not the same person you were a year ago, 6 months ago, even last month? That's the energy of identity unfolding. Your spirit is catching up with your destiny. You are slowly stepping into who you were always meant to be. Someone intuitive, someone radiant, someone spiritually aware, someone whose presence carries meaning even before they speak. For so long, you may have felt lost, confused, or unsure of your purpose, but chosen one, those moments were not detours. They were initiations. Each season revealed a new aspect of your soul. You learned strength through struggle. You learned compassion through heartbreak. You learned discernment through betrayal. You learned faith through uncertainty. These weren't punishments. These were trainings. Divine preparations shaping you into someone who can handle the weight of their calling. Your identity is not something you chase. It is something you remember. Deep down, you have always known you were different. You've always felt something powerful inside you, something that didn't match the world around you. You didn't fit into ordinary life because your spirit was never ordinary. And now, as your awareness expands, you are remembering the truth. You were chosen long before you ever understood the word chosen. And chosen one. This is where your story becomes prophetic. The world is beginning to see what heaven has been shaping in secret. People around you may start noticing your glow, your clarity, your strength, your peace. They may not understand how you transformed, but your spirit does. You didn't become someone new. You returned to your original design. You stepped back into the light you were born with. Your identity is still unfolding, elegantly and powerfully. You are rising into alignment with your true self, and with every step, you shed another layer of doubt, fear, and limitation. You become clearer, stronger, more luminous, more you. And chosen one, the world is not ready for the power you're stepping into. But destiny is. Heaven is. Your spirit is. Because this is the moment your story shifts from survival to purpose, from hiding to emergence, from questioning to knowing. You are becoming who you were always meant to be, and the world is about to witness the fullness of your light.